Hi guys, so the internet is a wonderful thing. You can make a comment today and it can come back to bite you in the arse many years later. So you're going to hear from Dominic Raab, who was speaking at the Conservative Party conference back in 2018. Now remember, he was the Secretary of State for exiting the European Union. He was the Brexit Secretary. And he made comments about how, some people say a no deal would be a problem. I don't see it as a problem. The government have prepared for a no deal. Obviously, we know that isn't the case. And he also promised that, these prophets of doom would be proven wrong. Because, the European Union wouldn't want to turn the UK into a third country. Let's hear what he had to say.
That's why the whole of the machinery of government is busy preparing for a no-deal scenario. Not because we want it, not because we think it's likely, but because it might happen. Some people say that no deal is unthinkable. Wrong. What is unthinkable is that this government or any other British government could be bullied by the threat of some kind of economic embargo into signing a one-sided deal against our country's interests.
You have to ask, who is suffering at the moment? Is it the UK or the EU?
Now, when it comes to no deal, we've heard some pretty lurid predictions from the prophets of doom. They claim planes will be grounded, the ports will be blocked. Let's have some common sense here. Why on earth would any of those things happen unless someone decided to make them happen? Even if we can't secure a comprehensive deal with the EU, I have to say I find it hard to believe they would, for narrow political reasons, seek to punish Britain in such a crass and counterproductive way, threatening European as well as UK businesses and jobs. But if I'm wrong about that, it's hardly an attractive argument for those suggesting we should stay in the club.
Okay. Well, so Dominic Raab here saying, it's these prophets of doom making crass predictions. There's no reason why the EU would punish the UK in this way. Obviously, Dominic Raab doesn't understand the EU and Dominic Raab doesn't understand Brexit. But don't worry, he has a solution or maybe a response to the problems that businesses are facing at the moment. So he was on Andrew Marr's show on Sunday the 14th of February, and he had to say this.
The truth is that Boris Johnson promised the deal that you signed would, and I quote, if anything, allow our companies and our exporters to do even more business with our European friends. And the truth is that because of all sorts of new paperwork, there are now 20-page export health certificates for vets, there's 27-page catch certificates for exporting fish, there's duties for goods of all kinds which don't meet rules of origin requirements. And if it's going to make trading with business with Europe harder and harder and harder, then the common sense conclusion is that people will do less of it.
Now, remember in the previous video, Dominic Raab was defending a no-deal Brexit. He's now trying to defend Boris Johnson's Brexit deal.
Well, no, but so first of all, of course, you're right to say that the EU regulatory requirements and the red tape, the paperwork that they will apply to the UK will be the same as they apply to other businesses from other countries around the world. If they ramp that up and they don't take a sensible, smart approach to that, then of course it will have an impact. It'll also have an impact on them. I think if you take a 10-year view, as well as looking at the short-term risk, which is right to do,
a 10-year view. A 10-year view. So there are businesses that are about to close. Some businesses have already closed because they can't trade any longer. And your response to them is, well, look, yes, you're suffering at the moment, but don't worry. After 10 years of suffering, things will get better. So the guy who was saying, don't worry, the government is prepared for a no-deal Brexit, wasn't prepared for a no-deal Brexit, wasn't prepared for a Brexit deal. Can you imagine the situation if Dominic Raab had gotten his way and there was a no-deal Brexit? It would be much worse than the situation is now. But don't worry, his solution is sit it out for another 10 years. Yes, Brexit is damaging, but it's only going to be damaging for 10 years. Well, that's his prediction. And we've seen his previous predictions, how things would be hunky-dory, everything would be great. Anyone who said otherwise was a prophet of doom. Well, I guess this is better than the prediction of his colleague Jacob Rees-Mogg, who said it would take maybe 50 years for things to improve. When will people wake up and realize these people are liars, they're charlatans, they're crooks, they're corrupt? They have no consideration for the British public. They have no consideration for British businesses. It's about lying to people and convincing them to vote against their own interests. That's what it's always been about. We have to convince people, generally the poor and the working class, that Brexit would be a benefit to them. And we're seeing how those people are the ones who are affected the most. Because remember, as I've said before, Dominic Raab, I don't know how much money he earns per year. He's on at least £80,000 a year as an MP, probably double that as a minister or as a Secretary of State. So he will be fine. He will not be living under a bridge because of the mistakes that he's made when it came to Brexit, because of the errors that he's made, the things that he's said that has not come true. Imagine if Dominic Raab was working for you. Imagine you have a business, right? And Dominic Raab has made predictions. Wouldn't you fire him? If he was responsible for strategy at your company and it turned out to be so wrong, wouldn't you fire him? But instead, because he's a government minister, a Secretary of State, he gets promoted. Now, I didn't show you the original clip where he said at the beginning of it that he's pragmatic, not dogmatic when it comes to Brexit. Well, that was a lie, because of course he's dogmatic when it comes to Brexit, not pragmatic. Otherwise, he would have understood that when the UK left the single market and the customs union, it would become a third country. Now, small businesses can be forgiven for not knowing that things would go pear-shaped, that things would be so bad. But Dominic Raab has no excuse. We have to remember also that Dominic Raab said that he referred to the Good Friday Agreement when it came to dealing with the Northern Ireland issue, even though he hadn't read the Good Friday Agreement. How do these people become ministers? Sometimes I think it's like a lottery, that Boris Johnson puts his hand into a hat and pulls out a name and says, okay, this person is going to be a minister. It's not based on merit, which is ironic because the Conservative Party project themselves, pretend to be the party of merit. We want to encourage the best in society to to get to the top. No, it's not about the best in society. It's about, I don't know, how dogmatic you are, how much of a sycophant to an idea you are. That's how you become successful in the Conservative Party. So once again, Dominic Raab's response to businesses, to the working class that are suffering at the moment because of decisions he made, he says you just have to sit it out for another 10 years. I find it absolutely absurd. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?